Hey everybody, this is Peter and welcome to the show today. Well, today I'm going to be continuing on with my copycat Starbucks coffee drinks, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Starbucks cold brew at home. And guess how we're going to do that? We're going to be using this very classy mason jar. It's a very simple process to do. I'm going to show you how. In addition to that, I'm going to show you 4 or 5 different drinks that you can make with the cold brew, and also one thing you probably have never thought of. Let's go. All right, I'm going to be talking to you from this perspective today because we're going to be doing everything right here on my kitchen island. So this is the cold brew that I purchased earlier today, and I picked this up at the store. It was about, with tax, about $9. Now this is a 32-ounce bottle of cold brew, and they have different varieties. They have a lighter one, they have a darker one. The coffee that I'm going to be using is this one, and it's Cafe Verona. And this is the one that I have found that works very, very nicely for the cold brew coffee. It's not too intense, but then again, it's not too light either. And for me, I like coffee that can get up and walk on its own. So for me, I like darker coffee, stronger coffee. You can pick the coffee that's good for you. You also need to be careful about how you're going to grind the coffee, because you do need to use ground coffee. So this is what I'm using today. This is this ground coffee, the Verona, and it's pretty much a coarse ground, and that's what you're going to need. The other thing that's really important is the water. So you need to use very clean, clear water. If your tap water does not have a great filter on it, I would recommend that you use bottled water, because it needs to be really, really clear and really, really pure. If you use regular tap water without a filter, whatever you taste in your tap water is going to carry right through in the cold brew as well. Your choice, you can do what you like. All right, so now I'm going to put the coffee into this bottle, and I said it's a mason jar. To be honest, it's not even a mason's jar. It's a jar of Rayo's pasta sauce that I just simply cleaned up, and I took the label off. You can see, there it is right there. This is a 28-ounce jar. You want to make sure you're going to leave yourself room for the water and the coffee grounds to kind of incorporate and get with each other, because that's the way you're going to get the best cold brew. And some attempts that I've made, the one I'm going to show you over here in a minute, I put in too much water and then too many grounds. And so I really didn't have enough room to kind of move around, but we're going to go ahead and use that today. I'm going to go ahead and pour the coffee grounds into this, just because this has a little bit of a lip and I have control over where the coffee is going. So as opposed to just trying to dump that all into the jar using that ramekin. Now it's just a matter of the water. This is 12 tablespoons of pure ground coffee. This is 12 ounces of pure water. The first thing I'm going to tell you is that I can't add. And so this is actually 6 more ounces of water to the 12 ounces of water I've already put in. I caught myself as I was about to tell you the measurement ratio for coffee and water. So this is 12 tablespoons of coffee, and we need 6 ounces of water per 4 tablespoons. So we have 12 tablespoons, and that's going to give us a total of 18 ounces of water that's needed. So we have 6 ounces here, and I've already put 12 ounces of water into the jar. All right, now before, on this one over here, which I'll show you in a minute, I actually put in too much, and it was all the way to the top. Just give yourself some room. Now, all you're going to need to do is put some cheesecloth here on top of the jar, and then take some rubber bands. How simple is this, right? Make sure this is going to be on there tight, because later you're going to be wanting to use this as a filter. I use 2 rubber bands on this one. If you can find a thicker rubber band, 1 or 2 would just be kind of a safety measure. You want to make sure the cheesecloth is tight whenever you go to pour the cold brew into your holding container later. I'm going to put this into the refrigerator. It's going to go overnight. And what you can also do is you can use a spoon and kind of stir it up, and that will help get the coffee wet inside the jar. And that's what I did on the other one too. So I'll be doing that later as I put that into the refrigerator. All right, so this is the one that I did last night. So I got this one ready, and I put too much water into this one and a little bit too much coffee. You can see it's really to the top. But now what we're going to do is we're going to put this into my holding jar. Why not use a nice jar to hold it? So I'm going to be using a funnel to pour the coffee into that, holding on to the cheesecloth, and just make sure the cheesecloth doesn't come off. All right, so pour this through. The reason it's going a little slower is that I put in too much coffee originally, and so that's why it's going a little slow. Give yourself some room, you won't have quite this issue. Okay, my friends, it took about 3 or 4 minutes for it to all come through, but here's my jar of freshly brewed cold brew coffee. Now, some of you might be asking the question, what's the difference between cold coffee and cold brew coffee? It's a matter of how are they made. Cold brew is a different method. Cold brew, you put the coffee and the water in the refrigerator and it sits there for anywhere from 12 to 20 hours. The coffee is going to be a lot smoother, it's going to be stronger, but it's going to have a wonderful sweet taste to it. This one's going to be kind of chocolatey even, so it's a delicious flavor. Okay, the first coffee I'm going to make for you is simply a cold brew coffee with a little bit of cream. Now you can put sugar in there or sweetener or whatever you like, but just for this example, I'm not going to put any of that in there. I will later, I promise you. So you want to do a ratio, this is concentrated, so you want to be using a ratio of 1 to 1. So just pour a bit of the cold brew in here. Right, now follow up with about the same amount of regular water. And now we're just going to mix that up. I'm going to go ahead and taste it. Wow, that is nice. Strong, but nice. And then just add a little bit of cream to that. And here you have the cold brew coffee with a little bit of sweet cream. It is absolutely delicious. Let's move on to the next one. And the next I'm going to be doing a vanilla sweet cream cold brew. You're going to love this one. Okay, on this one, we're going to be using some of the cold brew coffee, and I'll be using some of the Tirani vanilla syrup. You can use the Tirani or you can make your own vanilla syrup. There are many recipes online for that. I'm going to pour a little bit of the Tirani syrup, about 1 ounce, into the pitcher. Into this, I'm going to be adding a bit of milk. Now you can add regular whole milk like I'm using, or you can do 2%, low fat, no fat. You can also use almond milk if you want, so whatever you like. Here's another big one, salt. Just add a little bit of salt to that, and you'll be amazed at how that kicks up the flavor. Now, I do have several frothing machines here at my house, but today I'm just going to be using this handheld because I just want to show you how easy it is to do this. So I'm just going to put this in. Okay, I want you to see in this camera how I did that. It's not super foamy, but remember, this is cold. It's not going to go into the steamer. That's why you have to use either this type of a wand, or you have to use a frother that has the cold feature so it does not heat the milk. Okay, so the vanilla is here a little bit. I'm going to put a little more of the vanilla into this cup. Again, it's only about maybe half an ounce or so. Now I'm going to add a bit of the cold brew. Because I'm putting more cream in there, I'm not going to be putting in water. Now I'm going to add the frothed milk on top. And there we have it. We have a sweet vanilla cream cold brew. I'm going to try this one for you. Wow, that vanilla syrup inside the froth is amazing, especially with a little bit of salt there. You really got to try it. I'll be back with you in a few minutes. I'm going to finish this and I'll be right back. I'm just kidding. Now I'm going to be making a salted caramel cream cold brew for you. So I'm going to be putting a little bit of this salted caramel from Tirani into this frothing container. And I'll put a little bit of this in the glass as well with the ice. Not much, just about half an ounce or so. That's all it's going to take. Again, I'm going to be using some milk, salted caramel, so I'm going to use a little salt. Now I'm going to be using the same wand frother. I'll show you again what it looks like in the camera on the side, and you can see how much it came up just using that wand frother. It works really great. Remember, again, it's cold, so therefore you cannot be putting it into the steamer. All right, I'm going to be using some Tirani caramel and put that here on the edge. Now, the reason for this is just to make it pretty, to be honest with you. A few more little aesthetics. Okay, like before, I'm just going to be using the cold brew. Now I'll pour in the salted caramel cream. And then on the top, I'm going to be putting a little more of the caramel on top. Salted caramel, so we need to put a little salt on the top. Looks great, doesn't it? I'll taste this one for you. Beyond amazing. It is delicious. The salted caramel syrup from Tirani, you can smell the caramel as soon as you put it up to your nose. Of course, the sweetness kicks in immediately. A little bit of that cold brew just hit my tongue. Wow, this is probably my favorite one so far. Now for the adults in the room, I'm going to be making a vanilla cold brew martini. Ready for this one? Let's do it. Okay, let's make this vanilla cold brew martini. This is for the adults in the room. So a bit, maybe half an ounce of the vanilla, Tirani vanilla is what I'm using. I'll be putting in about 15 milliliters of Kahlua, 30 milliliters of vodka. Okay, now we need about 3 ounces, 90 milliliters of the cold brew. Okay, now we'll give all that a good shake with the ice. I know I bought a strainer, but I don't know where it is, so here we go. For me, I'm just going to add a little bit of this cream right onto the top. Makes a delicious presentation. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? Now, there's only one more thing to do. Wow, that is super, super good. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you today is some things you probably never thought about that you could do with your cold brew coffee. So let me get that set up real quick. Be right back. Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing you probably have never thought about doing with cold brew coffee, and that is making cold brew ice cubes. If you're going to be making coffee and drinking it, pouring it over ice, the best way to do that is to make coffee ice cubes, and therefore your coffee does not become diluted. So I learned this over in Spain. I was over there with some friends a while back, and they're the ones who introduced me to cold brew or espresso ice cubes. So here I have the ice cubes here made of the cold brew. I'm going to be pouring in a couple of shots of espresso on top of that. And now, as opposed to my espresso over ice getting diluted, it's not going to get diluted because I have those great coffee ice cubes in the cup made with the cold brew. All right? Good, just as I remember over in Spain. Hey, I hope you enjoyed watching the video today. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, please do so. It really helps us out. Also, hit that thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that you like the video and many more people will have a chance to see it. I'll have the coffee and water ratios down below in the description so you can see that if you like. Hope you have a great day today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.